Hey guys, Dark Prometheus here with our cut of our live stream of our Blue Jays franchise coming in after year 6. If you want to go ahead and check out the full live stream, it will be in the playlist below, or actually in the playlist that this is in, and you'll be able to check out the full live stream, see everything that we went through, all the trades, all the sightings around the league, but also some spring training. I'm not going to have spring training in this. We kind of played a handful of games in that. With some player lock, things like that. Nothing really eventful came out since there's not much for the change of the team that we thought. Kind of going into the end of this one. So, without further ado, let's crack into some craziness here in the offseason, because some other teams made some big moves to try to get us and dethrone us off our back-to-back World Series wins. So first, going through the stats, I went back and actually had a save that was a couple days before the playoffs in the minors, so we have the full minor league stats at this point. And in pitching, I really was impressed with our top 5 with Delgado, Kloffenstein, Avery, Ashcraft, Hans Kraus was in there out of the bullpen some. Brian Ma. We had some good guys come in and play, and we had a spot maybe if Chris Sale did retire. But as I was thinking about it, we had some good innings from Guidry out of the bullpen. We finally get over there, but he had something like 120 innings out of the bullpen alone. And he pitched very, very good. And as we were going through the actual season, I noticed that we need another right-hander. So one of those guys will be coming up. As you see there, Lantigua actually had 40 saves on the year. And then Vaughn Sechrist, it's time. It's time, baby, to pull up Vaughn Sechrist, 22 years old, to come up to the majors and play first base. It means we got to move some players around once again. But he did fantastic. And Jermaine Skelton, not too bad for himself at AA. He's going to be down there. And Rivas will be the guy that starts at AAA. Some standouts here. Tahiti Yamashita batted .282. He's getting better in that batting average. Still only a C potential with a 67 overall at 24 years old. And then we had some good play at third base from the minors across the board. Thad Marbury, Kellen Large, Jake Villegas, 18 years old, draft pick last, I think 2 years ago. But he looks like he's going to be up at the majors sooner rather than later. We saw a weird thing happen with Hendry Vasquez. Actually batted in the low 300s, 314 at AA. We're going to boost up his rating a little bit for the potential. Kind of like our little rule here, if we see any huge standout players, any all-stars, we're kind of going to boost them up. And batting 314 in 73 games and 283 at-bats, I would constitute that as a fantastic player at that point. So remember, our rule is only to bump him up to an 80 max, and then we'll see how he kind of goes after we bump him up by 5, and he keeps on playing like that. We'll keep on bumping him up. So, of course, we had to re-sign here as the general manager, but our manager himself, Joe Girardi, did retire after winning 2 back-to-back World Series. And our hitting coach, actually, his contract did expire. So looking through here, no big retirements. John Gray is in there, Nick Ahmed, but David Peralta, but no one that would warrant a game to put into the Hall of Fame. So as you see, Chris Archer was also in there. Kind of quick fall, but we are in going into year 7 at this point. So going into free agency, Kyle Schwarber was the one that we were iffy on at the beginning of the year. Did have a great year, and so he keeps on trending in the right direction, which is up. We go ahead and give him a contract. Typically, we use the farm director as like our assistant coach, but we saw that he was pretty young in that, and we saw a couple guys out there. I did see the Dave Roberts, I think it was, the former manager of the Dodgers, and we went ahead and gave him a contract, and we'll see if he signs. As we go through this is kind of the idea here. Vlad kicks back from first to third, so he's going to be back at third. Sechrist is going to be called up to the majors to play everyday first base. Bichette's going to move from third to short, and then we're going to see Baez move from short to second. Turner will go back out in center field, and Biggio will be out in left field. Kind of the idea going forward there, and we'll see how everyone plays. But I think us returning the majority of our starters, if not all of our starters at this point, doesn't bode well for the rest of the league. We'll see what kind of moves they end up making this offseason, because San Diego, we beat them. Dave Roberts does end up not really interested in our deal. We see that the best deal available is farm director, but he has a bunch of contracts all over the place. We end up going to Giuseppe Hayward for our hitting coach. It's whoever we gave the contract to didn't accept it. Dave Roberts takes the contract for the White Sox, one of our rivals in this franchise at this point. We've played them quite a bit. We see Luis Rojas here. Does have 4 postseason appearances, 1 championship appearance, no World Series, and no pennants. And we thought, hey, we want someone with experience, and he's the best we could get. We see that both Trey Turner and Javi Baez opt out of their contracts. They did have a player option there, and so they did opt out. And both of theirs are north of the qualifying offer. We do give both the qualifying offer, but Trey Turner wants in the ballpark of $27 million a year. We go ahead and give him that. And then Baez, we're looking somewhere a little bit lower. I think last year he was making 24. He opted, he wanted more, but he ends up only getting $22 million when he ends up hitting free agent, and we have the qualifying offer and that on him. No one really bites. Whit Merrifield didn't really see the field a whole lot this season, despite some injuries around, but we had some better players come through. So he opts out of his contract. As we see our draft picks from this offseason, not a lot of great draft picks here. Dave Calhoun at 59 overall, Sean Polito, Andres Acosta, probably our best pick this offseason. And then we signed a couple of guys. Francisco Estrella was probably our best draft pick this past offseason. As we go into the free agent, so we saw Grant Crochet there. I really like him. We're going to give him a deal. I saw Raisel Iglesias in there, a guy that may or may not make the MLB roster. We'll give him a make it or break it contract. We saw Miguel Sano on here. Someone's going to be very happy picking him up at 33 years old, and he is trending in the up direction. We see Javi Baez here. No one is biting even remotely on that, and so we'll easily get him. As Jose Altuve ends the season with a 2.41 batting average. That was a smart trade there. We see a lot of big names out here. Alec Baum, Nolan Arenado, Carter Kieboom, and we know Suarez. So a lot of names out here, and we should be seeing a lot of movement for those guys. Yariel Munoz was a guy we targeted. We gave him a contract. We knew money was probably going to be tight, especially after the contracts of Baez and Turner after they opted out. And so we do give him a deal at this point. We'll see who ends up signing first, and we'll kind of go from there. But we're going to be bumping up against what is the max, if not over. But at this point, I think we'll be fine in the salary cap situation, just as long as we have another long, deep postseason run. Here's our offers at this point, going right before we start simming some time into free agency. Nothing crazy. As for the resignings, we pretty much re-signed everyone that we had, minus a couple of guys that were in their 30s, like Forrest Wall, who wanted large contracts, but we're never going to be up in the majors. So here, as we couldn't get Munoz because of the fact that Crochet actually signed. We saw this. Brendan Mckay comes over to the Red Sox, bolstering their bullpen. One of the best pitchers in the offseason goes within the division. Miguel Sano is over with the Angels. We'll see him a couple times this season, hopefully. Archie Bradley, Max Kepler. We see Dave Roberts out there making some moves, trying to get that team over the hump. It's already a stacked team there. And we see Ronald Acuna leaves the Braves and signs with the Yankees. That is going to be something that's hard to contend with in this division. They actually had some issues re-signing some players the Braves did, and so they lost him in Ian Anderson. Nolan Arenado moves over from the Cardinals to the Astros, still doing pretty good. And then the Cardinals signed Xander Bogaerts to replace Nolan Arenado. The Roll of 5 draft. Go ahead in the comments below. Tell me, I think last year we had a Roll of 5 draft. Maybe if you have a Roll of 5 draft pick, you don't get the draft the following year, but I don't necessarily understand why we didn't have a draft pick this season. The first trade in the offseason, Sean Murphy is sent over to the Angels. The Athletics get Luis Arias and Jose Suarez, trying to actually get better there. Casey Mize then signs with the Red Sox. So Mckay and Mize. That's crazy. So we thought that the idea of Logue was kind of expendable because we wanted to bring up someone from the minors. We get Eli Sandoval to kind of recycle that pick. In that, Cody Whitley pitched very good, but we want to pull up some guys from the minors. And Justin Turner, a guy at the MLB level, is just a cap bringing some money there. We get Ricky Wiley, Joe Gray, a center fielder that's 77 overall. We're just looking to get some prospects from this because I think we were ready for our bullpen to take the next step from guys we have grown within our farm system. We're going to send Freddie Peralta and Jordan Groshans. Peralta getting up there in age, starting to go down from there, but with Groshans, he wasn't really going to see the field a whole lot. And I think after the trade for Greg Jones and the fact that we bring out Von Sechrist, he's a guy that's not really going to come up because you also have Arelis Martinez that's waiting as well. So here is the look at the depth chart as of right this second. Some good stuff. We pretty much return everyone from our past two World Series runs. We'll see if Von Sechrist has a chance to get the Rookie of the Year. I think he really does. And the fact that if he can hit some bombs for us, he could be good. He could be absolutely stellar. So, going into this season, we actually do open up with a division game, and this time it's not the Yankees, which is kind of surprising in that it is actually the Baltimore Orioles. So, an easier opening day. We might start the season 3-0 at that point with a good sweep, but Manoah will be the ace for this season. Julio Urias will be the 2. Woods Richardson will be the 3. Molly will be the 4. And Chris Sale will be the 5. We moved up also out of the bullpen. Hans. I think it's Hans Grouse. I think it's the one that we end up pulling up to be the right-handed long reliever in the bullpen. We do make some changes, but not much down the minors. Raziel Iglesias does not make the major league roster. He's going to be down in the minors, but the first guy to come up in case of injury. And then from there, we kind of roll. with what we had last season. Kind of uneventful. If you want to watch the entire stream, it's in the playlist below. But again, we're going to be rocking into 2027. So thanks for hanging out. If you want to leave a like below, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Later.